Salam. So I wanted to talk about something that has given me some consolation the past couple weeks and hopefully can do the same for you as well. And that is basically, I guess, restructuring the way that we view Jannah. So as someone that grew up kind of between Christianity and Catholicism, the way that we were taught about heaven and hell makes it very much this like far off concept of this like fantasy place that you go to where it's like you know that it's real, but like you don't really feel that connection to it. You don't feel that it's really real, and there's still such a big emphasis on this life, and then heaven is like over here. It's like this life is the big thing and then heaven is over here. Whereas in Islam, it's the opposite, and at least how we should be viewing Jannah and Jahannam is that this life is like this and Jannah is, you know, infinity, and not just the length and duration of it, but the reality of it as well. And what I mean by that is not viewing Jannah as this place that is spontaneously going to appear when the world ends and all of us have died, and then that's the place that we go to that just kind of suddenly appears at that time, but realizing and really, really internalizing the fact that Jannah exists right now. As real as I am speaking to this camera right now, as real as I can feel my hands and my head, and I have my daughter here, as real as this table is in front of me, Jannah is equally as real and existing right now at the exact same time as I am here. And of course, the same goes for Jahannam or hellfire, but I'm going to specifically talk about Jannah today. And this is something that I reflect on often, but it does... You do not forget, but obviously you get caught up in this dunya, you get caught up with the things that you're doing, whether that's work, school, family, taking care of your kids, your hobbies, you know. The reality of this life will distract us from the Akhirah, and that's why we need to continually remind ourselves to be able to strike a balance between the two. And I feel like this is something that was really brought to a lot of people's attention or the forefront of their minds this past month due to the sheer number of people dying and reflecting on the reality of where we go after we die. And obviously we all know these things, like as Muslims, the reality of Jannah and Jahannam, but really, really realizing that this world that we're living in currently is not the real life. And I guess you could also think of it as like a free trial, but like a really, really crappy free trial where nothing is nearly as nice or enjoyable as the actual real version of the game or the program or whatever it is that you're buying, you know? But it's just the kind of 7-day free thing that you get. And then the real thing is like way more complex. You have it for months and months and months, that kind of like mindset, right? But I feel like we know this. There's a difference though between knowing something and really internalizing and realizing the reality of something. And also along the lines of like, if I, at least for me personally, from a Christian background, when I think of, you know, heaven or Jannah or whatever you want to call it, you almost think of like this dream-like place where it's like your mind will be there, but you don't think about the fact that like Jannah is going to be just as real as this world is to us, how we can go outside, we can touch the trees, we can feel the grass, we can hear the breeze. It's going to be real. It's not going to be a dream that you are perpetually asleep and like living in this dreamland. It's going to be a real, tangible, existing place. It's not some fantasy. It is real. So while we are thinking of all of the lives that have been lost the past month, and it is a loss. It is a grand loss that someone's whole life, their whole humanity has ended, but just remembering that they're not leaving the real world. They're leaving this pre-world existence and going early. They're getting early access to the real life. Sorry, my daughter is pulling on me. And this is why also when you see Palestinians who are joyous and almost celebratory of death in this way, where they're getting a guaranteed ticket to Jannah, inshallah, it is something that the West or non-Muslims just can't understand, because it's like they view this world as the real world, and that once you're gone, like you've lost everything. That's the end of it for you. That's the end. But we know that that's not. It's just the beginning. It really is for us. And I feel like we know this as Muslims. Obviously, I'm not giving you any new information, but it's just something that we don't really internalize, but we can see it coming out so beautifully from the Palestinians and really demonstrating for us what it means to not be attached to this life, because you know that it's nothing in the grand scheme of things. And this is why I've repeatedly said as well that I am hurting so much more for those who are alive than those who have passed, because it's the ones who are still living through this that are having to go through their grief of their family members, their grieving of their loss of their homes, their loss of their livelihoods, their loss of their land. Whereas the ones who have passed, inshallah, like, they have already forgotten all the pain that they've had. They've already forgotten all of the hardship that they've gone through in their lives. And that's why you see this joy and this eagerness to be martyred, because they know that that's what is awaiting them. They know that that's what they're going to. And they know what they're leaving as well. They know that they're leaving this hardship. They're leaving, this struggle, and they're getting rewarded for it in the most beautiful way. However, therein lies the struggle for us as humans that are still living on this earth and going about our normal lives, is finding that balance between being able to function in this world, do your work that feels mundane, do these things that feel so silly now comparative to what's happening in the world. And it's hard to carry on and be normal and function, but we have to still remember that we're working for our means of getting to Jannah, and our means of getting to Jannah is going to look a lot different than everyone else's. Everyone's is going to look different from each other. But it's the same in that we're all working towards the same final destination, which is the real world, the real life, because this here is not our real lives.